Perfect. Welcome back to another episode of Guided Mistakes. I am your host, Jenna Allen, and today we have a very special guest, Teresa Ramirez, and she is going to talk about how we can change the way we react and look at things. She is also a award-winning author, so I will let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I am an award-winning author and motivational speaker, and I encourage parents to raise kind children. And how that started was back in 2018, there was a school shooting, and the parents at that time were really trying to change laws, but they were hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And I thought, gosh, I sat down and wrote a letter called Dear Students, and I sympathized with them and grieved with them, and then said, yeah, I understand the red tape, but there's stuff you can do right now without changing the law. And that was, go sit with that kid at lunch. That's all alone. If somebody dumps their books or pencils on the floor, help them pick them up. Don't stand there and laugh at them. Help them pick them up. The more kind actions you treat each other, the less of the nasty stuff that's going to happen.
I love that.
So I put that aside for a year. I didn't really know what to do with it. And then I took it out and I was praying about it because I do believe God put this on my heart. And I said, so we talked about Ephesians 4:32, which God tells us to be kind and compassionate to one another. And I said, okay, well, what does a kid encounter throughout their day? Who are the people they encounter? So I did a 21-day kindness challenge on Facebook. And I started with your parents. Who do you see at home every morning and how to be kind to them? How to be kind to the bus driver, how to be kind to the principal, how to be kind to the teachers, how to be kind to the cafeteria worker, and just all those things. And we went through and I gave them ideas. And then I went to a few schools and talked to kids about doing that, about putting those into practice. And then COVID hit. And like everybody else, I'm stuck at home watching, reading social media. And that's where I found out how nasty adults could be to each other.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, your kids are reading this. Your kids are out here seeing this. They're
Yeah.
reading this. And don't tell me they don't, because they actually do it so that they don't want you talking about them. But they still read it. They still read it. And gosh, I need to get to parents. I need to get to parents and I need to tell them they need to become the CEO of their family. They have to determine the philosophy and the values they want their children to grow up in.
Yeah.
And I did talk to quite a few parents, and they wanted to raise happier, kinder, compassionate children and godly children. And so I did come up with a system, so to speak, a little process on how to be kind in a day-to-day situations, just using everyday activities, holding open doors, paying for the coffee behind. You can do all those things.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves is those darn shopping carts in the middle of parking places. How many times you've gone to pull in and there's a cart there and it drives me crazy. And for parents, I always say, moms especially, be kind to the next mom.
Mm.
You're pulling into that space without a cart in it. Don't leave a cart in it when you leave, because the next mom wants to go in and park there. And
Yeah.
maybe it is a closer spot or whatever, or there's too many spots. It's the last spot.
Yeah.
Be kind. Parents, be kind to each other and be considerate. And a lot of that start your day with intentional acts of kindness.
Yes.
Plan it out.
Yeah.
I know people ask, because a lot of times on my Facebook group, I say, this is the act of kindness that I did today. This is what I saw today. And I'm not trying to brag on it. I'm just saying, because I'm intentional about it, because I get up every morning and think about it, I see ways to be active, to be kind everywhere.
Yeah.
And the more you practice in those little day to day, the more you'll be seeing that too. And guess who's watching? Your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be just like you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. I love that so much. One of my things too, it's actually like a part of the reason why I'm not gonna have kids until I know that I can provide, because I care as much as I would love kids, I care more about my kids' life than I do my needs. you know?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
So,
great. And
yeah.
that's a great way to act or
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I always say and kindness does start at home and it does start with your relationship with your child.
Hmm.
What words are you using? What are you
Yeah.
saying to your
Yeah.
child in the morning? Are you sending them out the door to school on a good note? Are you saying, have a great day? I believe in you. Are you putting little notes on their mirror?
Yeah.
You make me smile.
Aw.
You're awesome. You
Yeah.
rock. They've got the big math test. Do you put a sticky note on their math book and put it in their backpack and say, you got this?
Yeah.
Are you encouraging?
Yeah.
But what happens is the more your child hears that, they're going to spread that
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yes.
love that so much. So how can we, like as a society, how can we change the way we look and react to certain things?
So the biggest thing you have to remember is like in a situation, I'll use this as an example. I was in a little restaurant, little bistro, having lunch with a friend, and and we were kind of waiting. It was a little busy,
Yeah.
and the server comes up and she says, "What do you want?" I'm looking at my friend, going, "Oh, this is not good." And and we said, "Well, we have a couple questions. I don't know the answers. I just got here. I was told to take your order. What do you want?" Like, oh gosh, and my friend and I are like, we want to leave, but okay, we really like this place. And so we place our order, and I'm not even sure she came back to check for, coffee refills or anything like that. And she brings the check, we pay at the table, and on the receipt, I wrote, "You were designed to shine," and put a
Oh,
smiley face.
I love that.
Do you know she chased me out in the parking lot and said, "Thank you.
Oh,
You made my day." And I thought, all I did was, playing with the smiley faces on the
yeah.
receipt kind of thing. It didn't even register with me, but it was our words. I didn't take her attitude personally. That's number one, because it's rarely about you. That's something else to keep in mind.
Yeah.
She wasn't mad at us. She
Yeah.
was mad at who knows, something happened last week, last month.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I did take the time to be kind, say something kind to her,
Yeah.
and it registered with her and it made a difference.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just those, I always say personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint.
Yeah.
Never know what somebody is going through.
Yeah.
So just always be kind.
I love that.
Not always easy, but always be kind.
Absolutely.
So,
I love that
so
so
that,
much.
yeah, that's one way to change your perception. Um, Also, especially with kids, I always, because it's hard when
Yeah.
someone's yelling at you and you're like, dude, you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You have to keep in mind it really wasn't you.
Yeah.
But you have to pause, you have to learn. And this takes practice, and you
Yeah.
practice it as often as you can, where you just pause, take a step back, take a deep breath
Yeah.
before you react,
Yeah.
because you can't change their behavior,
No.
but you can change the way you react.
Yes.
And one of the best things to get the children into the habit of pausing, because kids are just as reactionary as the rest of us, is to use blowing bubbles,
Ooh.
because you have to take a deep breath
Yeah.
and let it out. And if you use blowing bubbles, that's that same concept. And it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Kindness should be fun, and you should be
Absolutely.
having fun with your kids. It should be fun. I was talking to somebody yesterday. They said, "Well, what kind of acts of kindness can we do with our kids?" I said, "You can do any number of things,
Yeah.
but." They had a local charity drive come up and they wanted to get rid of clothes. And I think the child was 3, cracked me up. She said, "Yeah, I don't want this. I don't want," like, she's going through her closet, like almost emptied her entire closet. And her
Oh my
mom's like,
God.
"You
Oh,
have to wear some of these."
yes. Oh man. Oh. I love that. I actually, speaking of kindness, a few weeks ago there was a homeless lady outside of Starbucks and I actually bought her like a coffee and a granola bar and I got her dog a little pup cup.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do carry in my car for the people that hold the signs.
Yeah.
I keep a little cooler in my car and the kindness. I started to get kindness bars just because I thought it was kind of cute. They're really good. And a little bottle of water, and I'll pass them out instead. Because I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
I want to give them money. They're going to buy drugs. They're going to do this. They're going to do
Yeah.
that. But protein bar in a little bottle of water,
Yeah.
that helps. That
Absolutely.
does help them.
Absolutely.
Um,
I love that
the
so
other thing when you're talking to people and you can tell they're angry or they're sad or they're just
yeah.
having a bad day, and you can tell,
Yeah.
just ask them, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah.
And again, that goes with the pause first.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it takes practice, but just ask them to say, okay, I can I can see you're not having a good day. What can I do to help?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, it just and what was it? Proverbs 15:1, the soft answer turns away wrath. And that's
Mm.
what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I
It
love
just
that.
it's huge. It's
It
huge.
is.
Um,
Absolutely.
and your
Absolutely.
words make a difference. They
Yeah.
make a difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, I was just going to say, compliments is another thing. I strongly, and I encourage this with kids, if they can get to that, where someone's saying nasty things to them, come back, ignore what they say, which is hard. I know, I know it's
Yeah.
hard, but practice your pause and say, hey, you played really well in that football game on Friday, or your book report you read today was awesome.
Yeah.
Love your shoes. Where did you get them?
Yeah.
The more you keep take their nasty words, but turn it back
Yeah.
with a compliment or a kind word. And then they're going to stop, because it's really difficult to continue to be nasty to somebody when you're telling them how awesome they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are just little exercises and tricks that I have discovered through my journey in
Yeah.
kindness.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I love that. I actually do this thing too myself where like I'll turn someone's negative comment down with a positive comment.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
turn it and twist it.
Because you're still standing up for yourself in your own way, but you're doing it in a kind way,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And imagine if everybody does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that's another thing that I reminded people always say, well, yeah, this sounds really nice. It does, but I don't think it works. Well, there are studies that prove that it does.
Yeah.
So if you and I exchange an act of kindness,
Yeah.
our serotonin levels go up,
Yeah.
and those are our happy hormones. So
Yeah.
you and I are feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But the fascinating thing is, anybody that watches it, their serotonin levels also go up. So
I
you've
love that.
created, the two of us have, one act of kindness has created this huge ripple of kindness and happiness.
Like a chain
If
reaction.
everyone is doing that in their corner of the world,
Yeah.
think of all the changes that we can make.
That's true. That's true. I know. That's
Yeah.
that's why I'm so passionate about what I do too, right? It is like I feel like God has given me the gift to use my voice to help the world.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Uh, Same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it, right? So that's so
Yes.
cool too, because I feel like for me too, like when we change the way we react, like for me in the past, like I've had so many bad reactions, right? And now like I'm trying to like control my reaction and I'm still allowed to process my feelings and feel my
Mhm.
feelings, but making sure that like I'm aware of how I react,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because sometimes our reactions can, cause problems if we're not careful, right? So,
Right. Yeah, just that one angry word can spiral into something huge, and it doesn't
absolutely.
need to. And
No,
it doesn't need to.
absolutely. Absolutely. So what's your book about?
My book is Raising Kind Children, and it's
Ooh.
actually it's short, quick for busy parents. So
Yeah.
don't freak out. But it's short and sweet, but it's just a process where you start with the practicing kindness through day-to-day activities, and then you make it as natural as breathing,
Yeah.
and you use the blowing bubbles, and then you get to the what I call three ways to be kind in those awkward situations. And one of them we just talked about is changing your perception. One of them is humor, and one
Oh,
of them is sometimes you just have to walk away.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
had friends, it's been 30 years. Somebody had a fight at somebody's wedding,
Oh
and
no.
now it's 30 years later. They're still not speaking.
Oh,
And that's family
that
members. So is
sucks.
it worth it? Is it worth it? I mean, there's a time and a place for those
Yeah.
hard conversations, but the Thanksgiving table is not it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also depends on the relationship too, right? Like every dynamic is different. Like I know for me, from I've had to actually cut ties with actual people, but I can still
Yes.
forgive them. I can still wish them the
Hmm.
best, right? But I
Right.
have actually had to cut things off, but I don't hold anger towards them anymore, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
forgiveness is
This
important too.
wedding thing, it's still, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh no. That sucks. That sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it
So
is. It is.
So I also wanted to ask you, what has been your biggest lesson throughout this whole journey?
Oh my gosh. I think it's the fact that if we each of us focus on our own corner
Yeah,
and make it better and create that ripple, that they will merge together
yeah,
at some point, and we can wash a wave of kindness, happiness across this country and change the world. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that
yeah,
I have come to know, and that kids, and that I do see kids that come from homes where their parents are teaching them kindness.
yeah.
And I've got examples in my book from, a 6 year old up to a kid that's in his 20s. So it does, and teenagers, they're all doing acts of kindness because they've been brought up to do that.
I love that so much. I think this would
It,
be so beneficial to parents too. Like, I really do. I think this is an amazing thing and I love what you do. Like it's so unique too. I've never heard of this.
yes.
Like you're very unique. You have a very unique like approach and a very like I've net like this is it's just so cool. Like I love it. That's so
And I don't,
awesome.
yeah, well, and I didn't want parents to think, oh my gosh, it's one more thing I got to put on my plate. That's not it.
Yeah.
This is a framework.
Yeah.
That's the book is a framework, but
Yeah.
you customize it to what works in your life. Just
Yeah.
put it in there with all the extracurricular activities that are out there. But you can see that there's ways as you're flowing through your day that you
Yeah.
can split an act of kindness in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that so much. So for people that are interested in working with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook
Okay.
under Journey and Kindness, Teresa Ramirez with Teresa Ramirez. That's the easiest place to find me at this point.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. That was amazing. And I'm definitely gonna put all your show notes in here and everything so people can find you. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, I have too. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
It's
of
been fun.
course. Yeah, of course.